Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So, you've just bought Hearts of Iron 4. You've seen the new update, By Blood Alone, the new DLC, and you thought, what the heck, I'll jump in and play this Hoi4 game. Perhaps you've seen it online, you've seen other people playing it, and you're interested, you think it's a good game. You bought it, only to start your first game and realise you don't have a clue about what to do or how to even play the game. Don't worry, I was there once. So I guess this video is just going to be a quick tutorial, basically just giving you the bare minimum to sort of get started and start figuring the game out for yourself, because Hoi4 can be very overwhelming for a new player, and trust me, I'm pretty sure everyone who's jumped into Hoi4 has at some point watched the tutorial, because there's a lot of like stuff that you need to figure out. So this is going to be a quick video, hopefully no longer than 10 minutes, just explaining the very basics, the very bare minimum, enough to get you guys started and for you to be able to discover it yourself. So first thing first is, of course, the main menu. Pretty basic, hopefully needs no explanation. We're going to start with a single player game. And for the purposes of this, I'm actually going to play the tutorial, because I would still recommend you guys play the tutorial before actually jumping in to a game of your own choice. But before I do that, I'm just going to quickly show you how you would play a normal game. So you click New Game. You get two scenarios basically of when the game starts. One is the 1st January 1936 and one is the 14th of August 1939. Pretty much everyone who plays Hoi4 will start in January 1st 1936, because that is where the game starts. The 14th of August 1939 is a very niche starting point. You won't really start this unless you have a specific thing you want to play in mind, because all the countries would have developed in ways that you may not have wanted them to, especially the country that you intend on playing perhaps hasn't researched the things you want, or etc. So everyone starts pretty much always at the 1st January 1936. So you click select scenario and you'll be selected with the select country tab. You've got the majors up here, which are of course the 7 majors that took part in the Second World War, and then below that you have flags of all minor nations, and clicking on them will obviously select them, give you a brief history, their leader, and things like that. So that's basically how you select a country. And if you want to select a country that isn't on this list, all you do is click other countries, go down to select country, and you're brought to the map. This is of course what you'll be playing the game on. And you can still select those countries that you saw earlier. All you have to do is simply click on them. So if I want to play as Germany, I just click it and you can see it selected it. If I want to play Poland, all you have to do is just left click on the country and you can start your game. And then down here you have some options for difficulty. I would say for Hoi4 nobody really plays outside of regular difficulty, because it gives certain benefits if you play these, and certain malices here, which kind of make the game a bit more, I'd say, not necessarily unrealistic, but unfair, to the point where enemy troops are just arbitrarily stronger or arbitrarily weaker. You know, there's no I'd say like gameplay mechanics, for example. Like, there's ways to make your troops better in the game. This is just like, if you play on elite, the enemy troops are just naturally better and you're naturally weaker, sort of thing. So yeah, so basically I wouldn't recommend taking off regular difficulty. Custom game rules I'll let you explore for yourself. The only other two is these two. Iron Man mode basically means that you can't use cheats and you can't save. I.e., you need to click this in order to do achievements, which will be highlighted by this little tick here. Deselecting it, put a nice cross saying you can't get achievements. And then this one is historical AI focuses. Click that if you want each country to basically play as they would historically. Of course, you can untick this and countries will then have sort of random paths. For example, Italy in this new update could go communist, for instance, which of course it didn't in real life. So yeah, that's the very basic main screen, and of course when you guys are comfortable you can come here, mess around and discover things for yourself. But for the purpose of this video, we're going to go, instead of new game, to tutorial. and it'll instantly load you up as Italy. Now, of course, with the new Italian DLC, it's perhaps made the tutorial a lot more difficult than it used to be. Luckily, with the tutorial, there are a lot of pop-ups just like this one. So obviously, you, if you want, can read through all of these, and by selecting things, new pop-ups will come. And the issue I find with this, though, is while it's good that they've taken the time to write out a whole bunch of explanations for things, a lot of people don't like reading, myself included. I'd much rather watch a video on how to do it. So anyway, for the time being, we're going to ignore these pop-ups. So I'm just going to minimize that. And I'm going to just basically explain the key things that I think everyone needs to know. Firstly, let's go over the controls. Left click selects things. It can select a province. It can select navies. Like I said, you can read through all this stuff, but like I said, selecting it will give these pop-ups and hints explaining things. If you want, obviously do that for yourself. You can select divisions. Just left clicking selects things. If you want to move around, you've got two options. You can move your mouse to the edges of your screen to move around, or you can use middle mouse to kind of grab the map and move it around as you wish. The scroll wheel will zoom you in and zoom you out. Pretty simple. And then of course, if you select something, right click will move it to a location. So for instance, this this naval squadron, I don't know what you call it, task force, there we go. I've ordered it to move to this naval base here. Same with if I select a division, I'll select this Mountaineer division. I'll right click here on Bologna, and you can see this little arrow shows you the path they're going to take to get to that destination. Pretty simple. Those are the basic controls. And I'd say the other thing you need to know about Hoi4, as well as kind of other Paradox games, is if you don't know where to start, basically start with these. This up here, these are your like notifications basically. They are things that you are not doing or things that you should be thinking of doing that the game is trying to tell you, hey, you haven't done this, we recommend you should do something about it basically. And we'll start with what I would say is the most important and then work our way backwards. Other than that, I feel like it's up to you guys to kind of explore the UI. I'll do it very briefly. Up here you have sort of obviously your country, and you can click on this flag to bring up certain panels which will show you certain things like your laws and governments, research production, bonuses. It'll show your ideology and your national spirits. But yeah, all these will open up certain tabs that will allow you to do certain things, allow you to explore this all at your own leisure. But like I said, they all have pop-ups here to kind of explain what it is you're looking at. Some tabs you'll use a lot, some tabs you won't really use at all. But anyway, that is basically the UI, and then this is how you actually play the game. As in, this is how you progress time forward. This little green bar indicates speed, so if you want to increase the speed, obviously you click, and once you're in the red you're going pretty fast. Then just unpause it, time will fly by, and that's basically how you progress. But before we do that, we're going to do a couple of things first. And we're going to start with these notifications, like I said. The first thing you'll start with, pretty much always, you'll want to start with the what is called the national focus. So I'm going to left click on this, and it's going to bring us to the national focus tree. Now, of course, if you've not played this game before, you don't know what a focus tree is. I guess if you know what a family tree is, it's kind of like that. You start from the top and you work your way down through time, essentially. This looks very big, very overcomplicated. Don't worry, even experienced Hoi players, when the DLC came out, took the time to read through all these focuses and see what's what. But to break it up into summary, for Italy specifically, the focus tree is broken up into different sections. This section here, starting with these three focuses, is what I would call the political tree. The kind of focuses in here are catered to political things, basically relating to your country. So any changes in politics, leaders, the country itself, and that kind of the story of the country, I would say, is this part of the focus tree. This part of the focus tree here is obviously the naval part of the focus tree, focuses that will allow you to improve your navy and give you benefits for your navy. The air tree, exactly the same as the naval tree, but of course clicking and selecting things here will give you benefits for your air force. Then you've got the army tree, again, benefits your army. And then here, this is kind of the industrial tree. These kind of things will help improve your industry. And then this little part here is basically your colonial management part of the tree, I would say, and your Ethiopian war tree. But yeah, each country will have a unique focus tree, apart from minor nations or nations that don't have a DLC for. But yeah, each country has a unique focus tree pretty much. And the way you sort of progress through this tree is up to you. I mean, you can start with obviously a selection of focuses. You could start by doing an industry related focus, or maybe you want to build up your army quite quickly. So maybe you start with some of the army focuses. Maybe you want to build up your navy real quick. Start with the navy focus. That's basically what the focus tree is. It's progressing down a story by selecting what are called focuses for a certain amount of time. And as the game progresses through time, you complete focuses at your choice. And that is kind of how you progress and how you can improve your army, your industry, change your country's politics, all that kind of stuff. So that's probably one of the main things you'll want to do is select a focus. So for the case of Italy, I'll just do Ethiopian war logistics. There we go, pretty simple. And if I come to this, click the flag, you can see it's queued up. And there's a little progress bar that goes and fills up as it's being completed. The next important thing is research. Quite self-explanatory, I guess. You have different things you can research. These are all the tabs up here that you can research. If you want to research stuff pertaining to infantry, here you are. Support companies, which are part of the infantry. Then you've got tanks, you have artillery, you have ships and naval stuff. You have some more niche naval stuff like upgrading your guns. You have the aircraft tree. Then have the engineering tree, which is basically research, sort of rocket technology, and radar and radio stuff here. And then the industry tree, which gives you construction bonuses, allows you to build sort of synthetic refineries. You get more fuel from stuff, you get more resources, you can build more stuff. Basically, that's what this part of the research thing is. But yeah, all you do is you come here, you select the technology you want to research. So up to you what you want to start researching. Most people would start with the engineering and industry stuff because you want to build up your industry quite quickly. I'll select this, it gives me 3% research, click it, click research, and it's queued up here. And these are the amount of slots you have. So I can research up to 4 things at once. So I'll just queue up some stuff that you might want to research like that. There we go. Then the next thing I will talk about very briefly, and then we'll end the video because I think it's already going to get a little bit long and I don't want to make it go on for too long, but it's construction. And this is the construction tab here. It says you have 3 civilian factories. Basically, the way construction works in Hoi4 is you have civilian factories which build things. So for instance, if I click here to a civilian factory and I click a province, let's say here, I've queued up a civilian factory. Now, by building more civilian factories, I'll be able to build things a lot faster. So that's the purpose of civilian factories. And you can see here, up to 15 civilian factories can work up to 1 construction slot, I guess. Now let's say I want to build a military factory. Just do the same, click on a province, now it's queued up. So once the 11 civilian factories have finished working on this civilian factory, that'll be completed, and then it will start work on the military factory. And you also have naval dockyards. These are kind of your three main factories, but there are other stuff you can build, like anti-air defenses, infrastructure, air bases, etc, etc. Again, I'll let you kind of discover this as you play through the game. But that's kind of a quick summary of how construction works. And I guess the last thing I'll touch on is military and naval factories. This is basically where you build stuff. So let's say you want to build some infantry equipment to arm your troops. You select it, and by default it starts with one military factory building it. But it's only making 3 guns a week. So we want that to be a lot more. So we're going to perhaps put 5 military factories all making guns. Now it's gone up to 2 a day, a bit better. And this is basically how you build stuff. You click on this here for your infantry stuff, this here for your tanks, this for your aircraft, and then this for your boats and your ships. And of course you can select a ship to build. Let's say you want to build a big battleship. It's now queued up. We can assign up to a maximum of 5 naval dockyards to work on a battleship at a time. And then of course by doing this, upping or lowering the amount. So here we've queued up 1. Once this is finished, it'll then build like just the 1. We can go up to 5. It'll build 5 for us. That's basically how it works. Hopefully I've explained that quite well. There is a lot, like I said, to work on and explain in Hoi4. This is just a very basic summary, telling you guys sort of, and just enough so that you can go on to discover and learn yourself. But I will be making follow-up videos on specific topics, stuff that perhaps need a lot more attention or a lot more time to explain, but I don't want to make an hour-long video explaining everything, because that'll just put players off the game. I think it's a lot better if I condense a video down into like 15-20 minutes and explain things. But yeah, hopefully that's been helpful and enjoyable. If you are new to the game and want me to explain a particular aspect of the game, like how air works or how the navy works or how ground forces work, how industry works, whatever it may be, let me know. I'll be more than happy to make a video on that. But yeah, hopefully this has been helpful. If you guys like this kind of content, please do subscribe, like, comment, all that good stuff. Hopefully you guys will stick around and I'll make a lot more videos like this. But yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed, and I will see you in the next one.